What's up everyone, this is Scott with Team 512 and I'm back with another video. Today, I'm going to be stripping off the ceramic coat that we put on my Grand Sport over the summer. Stay tuned to hear why and to see how. Thanks everyone for stopping by the channel. There's lots of great automotive content on YouTube, so I really appreciate you spending part of your day with me. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Lots of great Corvette and general automotive content coming your way. So when I first bought the Grand Sport a couple months ago, I opted not to put paint protection film on the car. Instead, we put a 1-year Fine Lab ceramic coat. Well, 3,000 miles later, there are definitely some scratches and rock chips on the paint. So I think it's time we do some paint protection film. But before we do that, we've got to strip off all of this ceramic coat. So before I strip off the ceramic coat, let me talk to you about the PPF package that I'm putting on the Grand Sport. It's called the Competition Package, and it covers the entire front clip of the car, the A-pillar, the mirrors, the rocker panels, the side skirts, just in front of the rear wheel, and the panel behind the rear wheel. So I've also opted to remove the fender hash marks and replace them with new ones over top of the PPF for a really nice factory look. Now you can see the red is kind of off here, but that's because there's a blue film on top. And if I peel away the blue, I think you guys will be able to see, I don't want to pull too much away, maybe that the red is exactly the same. So that's going to look real good. Now the stinger stripe, I am not replacing. We're just going to cut the PPF out around the vinyl. So let's talk a little bit about what I'm going to use to strip off that ceramic coat. The car has already been washed with this Chemical Guys Honeydew Snow Foam Auto Wash. I've pretty much been using this exclusively on the Grand Sport since I got it. You can see it's almost time, well, it is time for another bottle. But it does a really good job. It's safe for waxes and sealants, and more importantly, ceramic coats, and it smells really good too. I also prepped the paint with some of this CarPro Echo. It is a waterless wash, and it has gotten the car about as clean as it can possibly get at this point in time. I'm going to be using the Chicago Electric Harbor Freight DA Polisher. The thing's been a workhorse for me, and it does a really nice job. I'm also going to be using the old standby Meguiar's 105 cutting compound and a Meguiar's microfiber cutting pad. I'm going to follow that up with Meguiar's 205 finishing polish and a Meguiar's finishing pad. And of course, I'm going to be using these Rag Company 500 GSM towels. Links down in the description for all of this stuff if you want to grab some for yourself. Now, let's get started. All right, so I've gone ahead and taped off the driver's side of the car. Now I'm going to go ahead and tape off the passenger side here, and then we'll get started. Now, the prep work is very, very important when you are compounding and polishing a car. So be very mindful of where you do not want to get the compound and polish, because this black trim, for instance, can be difficult to get any kind of wax or compound off. And there's a nice little rock that was stuck up in there. That'll do some damage to your paint. All right, so we are officially ready for step one. We're gonna go ahead and compound out this part of the fender with the Meguiar's 105. Because this pad is mostly clean, I'm gonna go ahead and prime it a little bit with the Meguiar's, and then go ahead and put a few pea-sized drops on here, and then start working from the top and make my way down to the bottom. So small sections, we're only gonna do right about here for now. I'm gonna put the speed on 3, spread it. Once we get it spread, I'm gonna go ahead and crank it up to about 5. All right, so Now what we'll do is we'll take a clean microfiber towel. One of these Rag Company 500 GSM towels will be perfect. There's a link down below if you'd like to order some of these. They are super soft, super plush, and it's pretty much the only thing I will use on this car. And there we go. Now, typically what I would do if I was compounding and polishing this car and not removing these stripes, I would probably tape them up. Now, one thing you will notice is that, and I don't know if the camera's picking this up, we've removed not only the ceramic coat, but any imperfection that was on the paint is now gone. So I'm gonna bring the camera in a little closer so you guys can see where I stopped, because there is definitely a difference between this panel and this panel. I'm hoping this is picking up on camera, because this is the area that I did, and I stopped right about here. So all down here you can see all these little micro scratches in the paint. Right there, you can catch it right there, guys. If I go up to the area that I just compounded, you can see there are really none at all. Now the paint looks a little milky only because we have to polish it, which will bring out the luster of that black paint more. So whenever you compound, it's going to look a little dull at first, and then once you go over it with a polish, it'll make it look real nice. Look at that, you guys. That looks amazing. Yeah, so I hope you guys could see that. Pretty amazing result. This is real shiny black clean paint. There isn't a scratch to be seen. And down here, even just from a few months with just that ceramic coat, it is still fairly scratched. So it's a good thing I am actually compounding and polishing this out, because I don't want to put PPF over top of what's there. We want it to look just like this. And this is something, guys, you can do in your garage safely with a DA polisher, some 105 and 205. Oh, this is so much fun. You guys, wait till you see this paint now. Let me get all of this off of here. All right, so I just got done compounding this entire part of the panel. I saved you from watching me do the entire thing, but I really wanted to show you the result here, and I think the camera can pick that up. There are no scratches that you can see on there. Some little fine scratching across the entire panel, which is normal. Again, don't get alarmed if you see that after you're done compounding, because it isn't abrasive. But we're going to go back over all of these areas with a polish, and I think you're going to be really surprised at the result. We have to do the rest of this fender, the hood, of course, the whole entire other side of the car, the rocker panels, and the rear. So we better keep going. All right, you guys, we are getting a very similar result on this side as we did on that side. Looks really good. And I want to apologize for any heater noise behind me. I had to put the heater back on because, well, the family was getting cold. So we're going to keep on going, finish this piece here and the lower portion of this fender, work our way back, and then tackle the front and the hood. The joys of black paint. I actually really enjoy taking care of black paint. Some people shy away from it. I like the challenge. I'm gonna like it even more once we get some PPF on here. All right, so I finished both sides of the car. Now it's time to do the front end, and then we'll lower the car down and start on the hood. You know, this is the front clip of the car, right? This is the front end. This is what everybody's gonna see when you pull up. We really wanna make sure the paint is looking as good as it possibly can before we go and get the PPF put on the car. And remember, This car has close to actually it has 4,000 miles on it right now. And black paint, 4,000 miles. There's definitely some imperfections on here, some small rock chips. We're not gonna get this thing perfect, but it's gonna look pretty darn good. All right, so the whole front lower fascia is finished now. All I'm gonna do is across the top here, then we'll attack the hood. So we'll do half of this first, and then we'll go and do the other half. That looks pretty good. Other than that little bit of hazing that you might see that we'll take off with the polish. All right, it is day 2 and I'm back at it again. The only thing left to compound is the top of this fender and the entire hood. Then we can go ahead and polish everything out. All right, so all the compounding is done. I just did the mirrors and the A-pillars. We are all set, ready to go. Now you're probably wondering why I'm standing by a window. Well, I took the screen out here so that I could use some compressed air and clean off this pad. There we go. Now it's nice and clean, and I can reuse it for another car. So I've gone and put the 105 and the compounding pads away now that everything's nice and clean, and I've gotten the 205 out and a finishing pad. Now the finishing pads are going to be a little softer and a little thicker than the compounding pad. And any towel that I used with the compound, I'm not going to want to use with the polish, because I don't want to reintroduce any of that abrasive particle that is inside the compound into the paint again. So the other thing you might notice is there's quite a bit of compounding dust on the car. I want to try to get as much of that off as I can before I start polishing, but I don't necessarily want to rub it into the clear coat. So I'm going to use some compressed air and spray the entire car down before we start polishing. All right, so I've taken the camera off of the tripod so I can show you guys what it looks like after you're done compounding, and I hope this comes out on camera. But do you see that kind of haze that's on the paint there? Let's see if we can find another spot that you can see it right in here. It's pretty hazy right here. It's kind of cloudy, milky looking on the paint. So that's perfectly normal when you are finished compounding, because you are introducing a bunch of tiny little scratches in the clear coat with the compound, but you're also at the same time removing some of the deeper scratches. Now we get to come over the paint with the polish and make it look super shiny. So let's start with the hood and the fender, and then we can work our way down the car. All right, you guys, time to start the fun part, polishing this paint. I went and primed the pad with some 205 and a little bit of water, and then put a few pea-sized drops of the 205 here on the pad. And we're gonna get started with this top half of the fender here. So just like the compound, we wanna blot it out. And you can already see that the polish is a little greasier, not as thick as the compound. We'll spread it out. And let's go. All right, remember you guys, this is the last chance to get the paint looking as good as you want it to be before the PPF goes on top. So let's wipe this off. All right, you ready? Oh, look at that, you guys. That is some gorgeous black paint. But look at that mirror shine, you guys. Nothing better than black paint that has just been polished. No more cloudiness, no more milkiness, but I hope this is getting picked up Hope the camera is picking this up, you guys. I mean, look at that reflection. Yeah, look at that, you guys. Now, I don't know if you can see the difference. This is the freshly compounded. You see a little bit of haze in there. See that? When you come over here, there is no haze. No haze at all. Oh man, that looks gorgeous. Come down here, this is where we didn't do, and this is where we just polished. All right, we got to stop staring at this thing and keep working. All right, so I just got finished the hood and the top of the fenders. Now I am working on the sides, and this was a really good chance to show you exactly the difference between a panel that was just compounded, so compound only, and a panel that has been compounded and polished. So I am going to try and get the lighting just perfect for you guys. Actually, I think right there. Can you see? There's a line right here where that has been polished, and then you come right down into here, right there. You see that, guys? Right in here. That has not yet been polished, but it's been compounded. So all the big scratches have been taken out, but we've got a little bit of that milky haze going on there, right? I just wanted you guys to see what that looks like. All right, so it's a few days later, and I am finally finished with the Grand Sport. Now, I had to go over it a third time with a blue finishing foam pad and some 205 because there was some pretty heavy ghosting on the paint that I wanted to get off before I locked it down underneath of the PPF. So it is looking good. I have not had it out in the sunlight yet, and I'm gonna do that today. So we're gonna back this thing out into the driveway and take a look for the first time in the sun. So in my videos, I like to dedicate a cold start to somebody. A fellow YouTuber, a subscriber, someone who leaves me a really awesome comment. Today, I'm doing a double cold start dedication. That's right. This is for my boys in Texas, front seat driver and protective dad pranks. This cold start's for you. All right, you guys, now that we're outside, let's take a look at the paint and how well it turned out. And I actually think it looks pretty good. No swirl marks. I mean, it looks like pure glassy black paint. Now, I will say, and I don't know if the camera's picking it up at all, but there are a few tiny little rock chips across the front of the bumper here. And that's really unfortunate, but I think that PPF does cover up some imperfections in the paint, but I don't know if it's gonna cover that up. So if you guys are thinking about doing PPF on your car, I would suggest doing it as soon as possible. I really should have gotten this done when it only had 800 miles on it because the paint definitely has a little more rock chippage up front than it had before. And remember, we also did the mirrors. They turned out really well. We did the A-pillars. They are going to get wrapped with the PPF, as well as this panel back here. And that's just a little dust there, but man, that looks really, really good. In a couple weeks, I'm heading to Modern Elix in Westchester, Pennsylvania for my boys over there, Jay and Eddie and the rest of the crew, to put Xpel Ultimate Plus on the Grand Sport. And this is gonna be good because it'll give me a little bit more security when I'm driving this thing around, particularly through the winter, because I do intend to drive this a little bit as long as the roads aren't covered in salt and cinders. I really wish, though, I didn't have to worry about these wheels. I think you guys know about the problem with the Grand Sport wheels cracking and bending. There's a class action lawsuit with GM right now over these wheels. And it's unfortunate because I actually really love these wheels. I like the red stripe, and you know, these cup wheels have always been some of my favorite stock Corvette wheels. That'll do it for this video. Thanks for spending part of your day with me. Remember to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and leave me some comments. You guys know I love interacting with people who love cars and Corvettes just as much as I do. Till next time, see ya.